Hello everyone, we're Tina and John, and we have a presentation for you on the theme of sustain, heal and grow, and how these three elements are essential for a successful marriage relationship.
This idea was introduced to us many years ago when we were training to lead courses of marriage preparation.
The importance of these three elements in a marriage was stressed by Dr. Jack Dominion, a highly successful clinical psychiatrist and Catholic theologian. He died in 2014 at the age of 84, and his work has helped the Church over the last 40 years to develop the ways in which it thinks about sexuality, love, and marriage. Working in the early 1970s, he was struck by the high levels of divorce, and through his work in marriage counselling, he saw the damage this caused to families. He liked to call his specialty the pathology of marriage, and he devoted the rest of his working life to investigating the causes of breakdown and to seeking remedies for this tragic situation. He very soon became convinced that counselling was not enough and that the solution had to start before marriage. He strongly advocated for marriage preparation courses for engaged couples so as to prepare them for this covenant of love. As we all know, this has now been standard practice in the Catholic Church for many years and is something that John and I have been involved in for the last 30 years. Our initial training for this ministry was strongly influenced by his research and teaching, and some of his ideas remain an integral part of our course today.
I was first made aware of Dr. Dominion when, as a young GP, I attended a lecture he gave to local doctors when he visited Guildford in 1978. One thing I found quite disturbing at this time was the high rate of divorce amongst my patients, and I think my strong reaction to this was probably because my own parents split up when I was very young. Dr. Dominion's talk was a revelation to me. He was able to explain what was happening in these marriages and how it related to personality types, mental illness, and social pressures. I think I had come to realize that some of these divorces were inevitable because things had gone too far. I really couldn't help these couples, but Dr. Dominion introduced me to the idea of marriage preparation for engaged couples as a sort of preventive medicine. This tied in very nicely with my passionate belief at the time that prevention is better than cure. He maintained that couples who marry should expect that they will sustain each other, heal each other, and help each other to grow. When they achieve all three sufficiently, the marriage will last and be successful. This is what moves couples from that early and intense phase of being in love with our partner and to the less intense but more lasting stage of loving our partner, that is a lifelong marriage.
But what does this entail? How do we sustain each other, heal each other, and help each other to grow? We can start to think about it by remembering that part of our marriage vows where we vow to love and cherish each other until death do us part. We're cherishing our spouse whenever we show them love, do things for them, accept them as they are, respect them, and seek to empathise with them. We sustain each other through all sorts of loving things that we do for each other every day, which enable our lives to go on as smoothly as possible. Looking after each other, the children, our jobs, the home and our wider families, our involvement with church activities, and other things we do outside of the home. Nowadays, it's usually essential that both husband and wife work, so life can become very busy and stressful. And without these sustaining acts, could become intolerable. A good exercise to do sometime is to make a list of all the things that you would miss if your partner had to go away for a week. Thinking about all the little things that you do for each other every day. Not just the practical, but all the little ways in which we show our love for each other. You might be pleasantly surprised by how long the list is.
Now let's look at healing. We all have areas of our lives that need healing. There may be some hurts that need healing among the things that we bring with us from our past and have not really faced up to before, preferring to leave them buried. They will affect us and our relationship until they have been dealt with, and maybe outside help will be needed. However, for most of us, that won't be necessary. But there will be other hurts that will crop up during our marriage. We aren't perfect and we will hurt our partners sometimes. We will have arguments and behave badly at times, putting our own interests first and neglecting our relationship. And so, for the sake of our marriage, we must be ready to seek reconciliation. It is important to recognize our mistakes and ask for forgiveness. As Pope Francis says, saying sorry isn't enough. We must also ask for forgiveness. And as well as asking for forgiveness for ourselves, we must also be willing to forgive our partner. But how do I forgive my partner if I really don't feel like it?
Well, that's probably something we've all experienced, but prayer can be really helpful here, and I've certainly experienced that. Forgiveness is a decision. We can choose to forgive. When a person feels truly loved and accepted by their spouse and valued for who they are, they can then deal with the hurts and the healing can begin. Being healed restores our sense of self-worth. And when we have healed a rift between the two of us, it draws us much closer together. Sometimes, though, the need for healing won't be due to a difference between you and your partner. It will be due to some outside cause, and the healing needed will take a different form from that of reconciliation. We may be very stressed by work problems and feeling anxious. We may be extremely tired or generally feeling a bit down. Then the tender loving care of one's spouse is the healing that we need. Someone to listen to us, hold us and reassure us, letting us know that they understand and support us, even though they can't solve the problem for us.
What about growth? When a couple marry, they may have feelings of it being wonderful and hoping it will never change, but we know that's not going to happen. Our circumstances are changing all the time, and we adapt and change. We become parents, start new jobs, move house, take up new interest, and this is all great. Life would be very boring if there was no change. As we get older, we may discover talents we didn't know we had and have the opportunity to develop them. For instance, we may lack a sense of self-worth, and the encouragement of our partner and their belief in us will give us confidence to grow and achieve things we didn't think we could do. Encouragement from our spouse to go out of our comfort zone, go for that promotion, change career completely, write a book, learn a new language, etc., is essentially in a relationship and can make us grow and become more fully the person we're supposed to be. We dialogued on the ways in which we experienced being sustained, healed, and encouraged to grow by each other.
I said in my letter to John that I know he has sustained me in so many ways throughout our marriage. And it's often through the little things that we do for each other. I so appreciate that it is he who gets up and makes tea for us in the morning before we have to get up. It gives me a chance to come to gradually and get ready to face the day. Now we're both retired, we share much more of the things to be done around the house, and doing jobs together makes it seem much less of an effort, and we can talk while we get on with what needs to be done. As John was the main income earner and I worked part-time, thanks to him, we've always been comfortable and had the security we needed to bring up our family. It's not just the practical things, though. I'm particularly grateful that he senses if I'm not feeling too well or have a bad headache. I suffer from migraines, and he encourages me to get into bed rather than falling asleep on the sofa. One of my main love languages is touch, and I would be lost without his warm hugs and kisses or just holding hands when we're out. Sometimes I'm not quite sure why I feel a bit low, but all I need is a hug to feel better again. Other times I just need to talk about something that's worrying me, and he will listen. It doesn't matter if he can't do anything to take away the worry, but just being listened to is a great help and a way in which he can heal me. There's something else that I really appreciate. He fills my car with petrol. It's not that I can't do it, but that I have a problem with petrol fumes, which can sometimes make me nauseous or trigger a headache. He understands that, and it's a great kindness. He's helped me to grow as a person throughout our marriage. When we first got married, I was very quiet and shy, but he always encouraged me to get involved with things, especially at church, which, considering he's an agnostic, is pretty wonderful. He believed in me and my abilities when I didn't have the self-confidence to do things, and I found I was being asked to take on more responsibilities. So I gradually gained confidence through his support and encouragement. I've tried to do the same for John. By taking on the larger share of keeping the house running and looking after the children when he worked long hours as a GP, I was sustaining him and our family. When he came home very tired, I would try to let him have a space to recover, which I believe was a healing for him at the end of the day. I've encouraged him to do his research and writing, and he has grown in confidence and self-belief. Being asked to become involved in marriage preparation has given us both a chance to grow further, and we have found it to be so beneficial to our own relationship. Although I don't think we could have done it if we hadn't done our marriage encounter weekend before that. I feel very happy and grateful for all the ways in which we have sustained and healed each other and helped each other to grow.
In my dialogue, I started by saying how important it is to empathise properly by asking and listening, and not just assuming that I know what Tina is thinking. Then I can sustain her in both the daily little things as well as the big things. Healing means dealing with anxieties such as Tina's anxieties about motorways. Simply dismissing anxieties as nonsense makes them worse, so I actually do slow down and say something reassuring when Tina starts to get tense. Well, I usually do. I think we have both been quite good at helping each other to grow. Tina used to be quite shy on public occasions, and I think I've done a lot to encourage her. The first time she gave a speech on a well-attended parish occasion, I was bowled over by how confident and effective she was. I now realise that she has actually become a better public speaker than I. When we did our ME weekend, we were asked to name one quality of our spouse that we valued, and I said loyalty. She has certainly been there for me and very loyal over the years, sustaining me through the day-to-day rigours of general practice, and I have been surprised by how accurately she mirrors my thoughts, feelings and ideas at times. When I had a work crisis leading to a complete collapse of self-confidence, she was there as healer to hear me out and build me up. Dr. Dominion explains that at times like this, the relationship is like parent and child, and I certainly felt like a child who had been demeaned and bullied by the big boys at school. When it came to helping me to grow, it was Tina who encouraged me to start writing for a medical newspaper. This eventually led to more writing and research, culminating in 2 books. I feel that much of my growing in tolerance and understanding over the years is down to Tina, and my answer makes me feel lucky. Lucky that we met on a rainy night in Liverpool in 1966.
According to Margaret Grimer, author of the book Water Made Wine, A Parish Team Approach to Marriage Preparation, she says this helps us to see in our marriage an image of the Trinity at work. She says, as Christians, we believe that sustaining is the work of God the Father, creator and sustainer of all. Healing is the work of God the Son, and growth is the work of God's life-giving Spirit. So we can now see God at work in all our marriages, through all the things that we do for each other, from the mundane, such as putting out the rubbish, to listening, forgiveness, and encouragement. Marriage becomes a way of experiencing God as Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, whenever husband and wife sustain each other, heal each other, and help each other to grow. Now we will leave you with a question. In what ways do you sustain me, heal me, and help me to grow? In what ways do I sustain you, heal you, and help you to grow? How does my answer make me feel?